Everyone used to wonder whether they could make it big and move to a less desirable region. All of our issues were dealt with in the 2013 National Geographic Channel documentary Life Below Zero. The show's debut episode focuses on people who live in remote areas of Alaska, documenting their struggles to survive and get over the various obstacles that come with living so far away in such a harsh climate. The bears will try to eat you. You will be pursued by the cold. There will be efforts by bugs to get you to quit the game. The main cast members, subsistence hunters, manage many businesses in Alaska's remote areas to make money, which are also covered in the show. Sue Aikens was a hunter from the start of the show. The network started to show interest in her as she persisted in leading an unconventional life. Since the beginning of the program, she has continuously had a significant influence. However, a lot of time has passed since then, and many people are interested in learning what happened to her. Let's look at what she has been up to lately. Sue Aikens' unconventional way of living at Alaska's Kavik River Camp had a big impact. Her lifestyle was molded by her childhood. Her father often moved the family before her mother filed for divorce from him. Moved on to live in Fairbanks, in the northern part of Alaska with Sue. Sue found it difficult to adjust to this way of life, which was made harder by the harsh environment in which her mother abandoned her. Sue was abandoned and had no one to support her. Eventually, an older Alaskan gave her her first gun and told her she would die if she didn't learn to hunt. It was at that moment that she understood that money was her sole means of subsistence. After she had figured out how to survive, she was down to around 32 gigantic Alaskan Malamutes. She would construct trap lines up to 400 kilometers long in order to hunt and support herself. She'd eventually stopped killing foxes after realizing that they are more than just a source of fur. Before starring in Below Zero, she appeared in a TLC reality series called Sarah Palin's Alaska. Her role was in the film She's a Great Shot, but there was no set way she was going to show up. She was selected to be a part of the program after being found by 72-year-old Alaskan Governor Chuck Heath and a family friend named Steve Becker, who went caribou hunting in Kavik River Camp. Perhaps as a result of the event with TLC, she became well known, and her camp soon became known as an exciting hunting group location. In 2011, she appeared in several more episodes of the reality series Flying Wild Alaska. The Hutu family, who operate Era Alaska Airlines, was the focus of the show. The chief operating officer was looking for landing strips when he landed on Sue's airship. Sue said that although a lot had happened since she started Below Zero, she had previously had a call from BBC Studios, who were interested in her unconventional lifestyle. Sue continued by saying that if she hadn't been treated with such respect, she never would have seized the chance. She repeated her fervent need for privacy at the start of the talk. She found it fascinating that rather than attempting to modify her uniqueness, they would kindly inquire about how she was doing and consider working with her on a movie. Sue had previously supported BBC Studios. Therefore, her 2017 lawsuit against the Los Angeles branch of the firm came as a surprise. It would never have occurred to anybody that there were issues with the program itself. She was hurt in a snowmobile accident while crossing a frozen river at 6 kilometers per hour and over an ice rise. This led to the filing of the lawsuit. The crash show, which included video of the occurrence, was followed by the aftermath, which aired in June of the same year. Sue said that she was forced to tape the two shows against her will by producer Aaron Millman. She had warned against filming there because of the dangers, but no one listened to her. Then it's claimed that the rescue team purposely delayed and had her walk after the accident in order to get better footage, even though she was in severe discomfort and in urgent need of medical attention. The takeaway from this is that it's amazing that she waited so long to file the claim, especially considering that the accident happened in 2015. So what are we aware of? Sue also thought that the government's 2017 approval of oil and gas exploration in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge was an important development. There were reports that the government was going to take her camp, since it was the sole commercial center in the area. It seems that the land is not legally hers. She is the owner of the structures, the equipment, and the development. Though nothing similar happened, she made a second bid, just in case. It was for an abandoned cabin near Alaska. Because she won the auction, she is now the owner of the cabin. That did not, however, mean that she gave up her home in Alaska and moved completely to the new country, in case the authorities compelled her to flee Kavik. She bought a China cabin as a fallback option. Her firm experienced social estrangement as a result of the latest COVID-19 pandemic. The lack of clients would therefore negatively impact her capacity to generate revenue. Still, she tried to do something in these situations. She did a lot of thorough cleaning and updated the amenities. She installed new, lighter, removable pipes in lieu of the older, heavier ones in the gray water system. She also rebuilt the covers on the buildings holding the generators and built new outhouses. She clearly had some incredible skills from living alone in a remote location, and despite her lack of experience, she did a great job with the changes. She made an effort to establish her garden with enough food to endure the long winter, but bad weather made it difficult for her to harvest enough. She tried to grow her own food but failed, so she went hunting and found some amazing fireweed. She killed, pulled out the flesh, and prepared the skin of one of the 4 caribou she was allowed to shoot. Even after spending so much time alone herself, she doesn't seem to have a lavish life. She has experienced terrible situations and animal attacks. For instance, she was assaulted by a bear in 2007. Bears have a keen sense of smell, so whether or not she burned her garbage, they could be able to detect lingering scents up to 10 kilometers away. Thus, the remaining bad odor might have contributed to the bear attack. As Sue attempted to get water for her provisions, the bear flung her about, its teeth piercing her skull. Fortunately, the bear tore her hip and shoulder off their sockets before moving on. There was nobody to help her, so she had to drag herself back to the camp to make her request. She had to tend to her wounds in the meanwhile, although this may seem a little fake. When she got to the cabin, she picked up her rifle, put her gun belt around her waist, and went outside to find the bear so she could take a shot. Sadly, when traveling to the lodge, the cinch slipped loose, forcing her to pull herself back and endure a 10-day wait for help. Her guiding principle is don't think about it if it hurts. Therefore, we shouldn't be too surprised by her success. When it comes to the challenges of living alone in a distant location, Sue underwent surgery in 2011 after a serious accident that resulted in a shattered leg. She had to spend 3 months away from the camp. Upon her return, she discovered that $5,000 of the $6,000, which was sufficient to last her the whole winter, had been stolen in fuel. She had just a few days left before a blinding story dropped, so she had to beg the pilot to send her a few barrels as soon as possible. Sue doesn't think a plan is good enough. It has a backup plan, and she always has one. She has never been married, which must surprise most people. Sue has 2 children and 2 marriages under her belt. Her first husband passed away from brain cancer. Later, she got married again, but this time, her husband couldn't stand living in Alaska, so they spent their whole 17-year marriage living in Oregon. But their different personalities meant that they had to keep apart to avoid suffocating one another. They remained friends even after his death because of how close they were to one another. Still, she made contact with Michael Heinrich, someone she discovered online. Since Michael was married at the time, they were just friends. However, the two came to know one another after his divorce, and while not living together, they were quite good at organizing trips. She confirmed their continued relationship by tagging her partner in a 2020 Instagram photo.